Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Kocher. Take a look at these pictures. You may recognize some of them if you've been there. Common Man welcome centers and roadsides. Call it a rest stop or call it Common Man Roadside. It's a place where you can pull off the highway, take a break, grab some food and gas, and get back on the road. For many seniors, it's a throwback to the 1950s and 60s, highway rest stops with Howard Johnson's lunch counters and gas pumps along interstate highways and turnpikes. And here are the Common Man roadsides across New Hampshire, the Common Man welcome centers and roadside locations, northbound and southbound on I-93 in Hooksett, roadside market delis in Plymouth, Manchester, two of them in Manchester, Epsom, Portsmouth, Derry. Are they successful? Well, you be the judge. Here are some visits and stats. Welcome centers and roadside locations, 4 million visits a year to I-93 Hooksett welcome centers, 25 million economic impact from visits, 3 million in property taxes to Hooksett. 55 New Hampshire companies contribute to products for sale. 400 employees work in Common Man roadsides, and that's the Common Man statement. Here's a statement from Visiting New England website that did an article on Common Man, focuses on creating its food local as well as employing New Hampshire residents with high work ethic. Truly a rest stop that never rests. So with me in the studio is the managing partner of the 8 Common Man roadside locations, Brad Pernaw, who is worked at the Common Man in the town docks in Meredith. If you've ever been there, it's a restaurant. He worked there as a teenager. He returned to New Hampshire as an adult with a degree in finance from Northeastern University to rejoin the Common Man organization to help creation of these roadsides. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. It appears that no matter where you put these roadsides, they work. So remind us of who were the brainchilds behind the roadsides, starting with the I-93 welcome centers and now roadsides around the state.
Yeah, I think about 13 years ago, Alex Ray and Rusty McClear were approached by then Governor Lynch wanting to redevelop the I-93 rest areas, but into something very different and very unique and atypical. And I don't think Governor Lynch could have found two better people to deliver something like that.
Yeah.
And I used to work for Alex, as you said, back when I was a teenager, and I rejoined the company about 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
And since then, we've taken a smaller approach to these, and we've opened 6 or 7 of them across the state, and they've all done.
Are you going to create some more?
Yeah, that's our goal
in the planning stage.
In the long run. Yeah, we have a fully permitted site. We're going to start breaking ground in Concord later this month.
Okay. And how about on Interstate 95?
Yes, we are actively bidding on that. We submitted a bid, and we would be honored to be selected by the state to partner on that. Truly a gateway project.
That'd be great. How about out of state? Would you ever consider out of state, like our northern New Hampshire, our northern New England states just on our borders?
Yeah, it's come up before, and it would be something that we would entertain, but right now we're really focused on the growth that we're doing here in New Hampshire, and we want to make sure that wherever we go, it's the same experience, and we're doing a really good job before we try to expand too much.
So the roadsides and the restaurants, Common Man Roadsides restaurants, are all part of a Granite State Hospitality Group, and you have a partnership with Irving Oil for the gas pumps at these locations. I understand that they were part of the creation of the welcome centers on I-93 back in what? 10 years ago.
Yeah, Irving's been a great strategic partner for us in terms of providing the fuel and the support, the infrastructure and the knowledge in that. I mean, that was certainly 13 years ago, a piece that we didn't have, and they've been a tremendously valuable partner in our expansion.
Yeah, it's been a decade since those welcome centers opened in 2015.
Yes.
What changes have you had to make to meet the expectations and the needs of the thousands of people that walk through your doors?
Yeah, we've embarked on a few different expansions just to capitalize on the success and the demand. These were new things that had never been done before 10 years ago. And so we've expanded. Certainly COVID had some impacts where we needed to shift and pivot. But really what we've identified is that people want to come in, they want to have a good quality experience, clean restrooms, and then they want to get going back on their journey.
Yeah, well, Brad Pernaw, who is managing partner of the Common Man roadsides, including the welcome centers on I-93 and roadsides that are growing around the state. It's part of the landscape now.
Yes.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here. And if you missed part of this briefing on Common Man Roadside, you can go to WMUR.com, where it will be posted all this week.